Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's The Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and with me, as always, returning to his hot chair, my very good friend, my brother from another mother, my buddy all the way from across the pond. Please welcome the Welsh Gamer. Dude, welcome back.
No, thank you, Boom. Thank you very much. And big shout out to So Shady as well for stepping in on my behalf last week. It's been a pretty bonkers last however many days. I've pretty much been a ghost since Thursday. Been painting a big portrait for my dad's 60th. On top of that, organizing my dad's 60th party, decorating all these different things. It's been stressful as hell, man. But So Shady, like a superhero, stepped in, covered my shift, and I'm back to go at it. Yeah, Boom, I'm ready when you are, brother.
Well, listen, this is going to be a fantastic show. We have lots of topics, lots of late breaking news regarding Xbox Game Pass, and we have a bunch of stuff. But before I get into that, of course, when we're out here doing these shows, we are supported by this amazing community. And in fact, we could not do what we do on a weekly basis if not for the support of the outstanding people that are in the chat and will eventually watch this on a replay. So, of course, late April, I was kind of talked into starting my own Patreon from a lot of the very awesome community members who thought that I deserved to have one. I'm going to be honest with you. I said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a very humble guy, and I think I've earned about the people's respect. Yes, I've earned that, and the trust. I do appreciate that, but I don't think that, anyone can just start one. And I was very hesitant to do it simply because I love doing this, because I love this community. And of course, I love Xbox. And with all the other shows that I do, I just enjoy gaming. So before we get to the topics, I just had to say a big thank you to these fine folks who have recently signed on to be Patreon members. Of course, it's Josette Rivera, who is, of course, my wife. She was actually the first one. AP Cool, Biggie 2316, Chris Hughes Sr., Creeper, the only one left, Defunct Jester, Dave, LMNOP, Jim Jordan, Chaos Theory, Lethal Papa, Mark Devlin, Mental 9R Gamer, Ricardo Willis, Scrub Nurse, and Tempest. There is one new member. Of course, I do not have that written down, so shame on me for not having it. He's probably in the chat right now, so if I see him, I will give you a public shout out, my friend. I want to thank everybody for being here. So let's get into, of course, the topics. Now, obviously, Drew, E3 2019 is only on. Oh my God, it's a week away. It's just above a week away. Anyone that's an Xbox fan, of course, is excited. And recently, and one of the first topic of today's show is we're going to be talking about how Microsoft's press conference is going to be the longest ever at a whopping 2 hours in length. And of course, listen, with Sony skipping E3, and I was very vocal about that on Twitter, and I got a lot of shit. I got to be honest with you. I don't understand how people could justify a big company skipping E3, but whatever. We're here to talk about Xbox. They're going to be there. Apparently, they're going to be there in a big way. And a 2-hour conference says to me that they have a lot to show. A lot of first-party stuff, a lot of stuff we have no idea, that we're only guessing they're going to show. Of course, third party, from what we hear, Drew, have been basically beating down Microsoft's door to get on that stage because it's the only big game in town, so to speak. And I like that. I really do. I think that it's going to be great for the fan base. I'm really interested to see what marketing deals they have going through, of course, the remainder of the year and the start of 2020. But you know what? In the past, Drew, Microsoft's E3 press conferences have come close to 2 hours, but they've never actually hit the 2-hour mark. I think that the most they've ever gotten is maybe like an hour and 40 minutes. So getting that additional 20 minutes, you could really show a lot in 20 minutes, especially if you run off, like a I guess, a gaming reel of all the stuff that's coming out. And, I have to say, Drew, and you'll agree with me with this, the last couple of conferences for Xbox have been really good. There's no denying how much content they're putting into these. But in your opinion, someone that is a diehard Xbox fan, someone that bleeds green when cut, first of all, how exciting are you to see a strong 2-hour show with tons of first party stuff and, of course, the third party to kind of follow it up?
Well, I'll just say this, my man, Boom, my brother Boom. I'll start by saying this. They must not only fill every minute of that, alleged 2-hour conference, and it's a big but, they need to fill it with worthwhile stuff from beginning to end. For my biggest fear, Boom, and I can't lie, when I hear that it's going to be a 2-hour show, even though I'm very excited for that. The only thing that concerns me is I don't want to be ramping myself up for this big 2-hour show, and then when it is showtime, there's dead spots, awkward silences, and a half an hour slot for the new multicolor pig they're introducing into Minecraft. I just don't want that shit, man. I would personally rather it be bloody 5 minutes than 2 hours if it was just going to be 5 minutes of epicness, if that makes sense. I just want a solid, riveting show beginning to end, whether it be 5 minutes or 20 hours. Just keep me engaged and blow my mind with everything. That goes for third party as well. I mean, I'm not against that. I think the fact that Sony have stepped down, third party are going to be coming through the walls like a bulldozer. At the end of the day, it's E3, man. It is E3. It is the biggest conference in the world. This is quite literally the Super Bowl of gaming, people. If you are a third-party developer, I don't care who you are, and you've got this amazing new project to show off, and maybe you originally shook hands with Yoshida and Mike Cerny and all these other people, and you're but they've fucked off and done their own thing. Oh, yeah, we're not going to be there. And you're just oh, right, crap. Yo, Xbox, got any room for one more? You're going to want to show off your stuff. So, I think it's amazing. As for messaging, though, Boom, I've said before that this E3 is so important for Xbox moving forward, as we've discussed, not just for the gamers and the games, obviously, but for the brand's growth and ultimately getting its recognition moving into a new generation. The Phil and team need to leave no rocks unturned here. There's nothing, they literally, they can't leave anything like that not on show on that stage. So basically, even with regards to the hardcore fan base and everyone outside of the hardcore fan base, unless you message and market your platform thoroughly, it doesn't really get more simple than that. Regardless of what they show, if they don't message and market the platform thoroughly, it's not going to really matter, if that makes sense. So I'm really excited to see what comes. Third party is going to be strong. First party is going to be excellent. I have high hopes there. Yeah, man, I'm excited. But with regards to that 2-hour slot, I have no doubt it's going to be an epic blowout from beginning to end. But I just want them to fill that 2 hours with nothing but net. I want them to literally just banger, 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 three-pointer, three-pointer, three-pointer. I don't want anything less than amazing. And if I see Minecraft, I'm going to bloody punch a hole in the wall.
I have to say this. First of all, I have to also thank Stubbs Gaming, who's in the chat. He was the latest Patreon member to join the ranks, so I want to thank him publicly for that. That was very cool of him to support Double Barrel Gaming. But in regards to this particular show, see, listen, Minecraft has a place, but it does not have a place at E3 on this Microsoft stage. They have something called Inside Xbox for that. They also have something called XO19, which will be coming probably in the middle of the, towards the end of the year. I don't want to see Minecraft on there. What I want to see is I want to see a bunch of first party, stuff that we know. Obviously, we're gonna get Gears, right? We're gonna get Gears in a big way, which is great. We're going to get Halo Infinite in a big way. And we're going to talk about that later on the show, both of them, because new information broke in the middle of the week that we kind of think of what we actually might see. But for me personally, As excited as I am for third-party marketing deals, obviously I'd like to see Call of Duty back up there. And from what we're hearing, reports are now saying that the new Call of Duty is in fact not being marketed by Sony. So that tells me that we may be getting that back on the Xbox platform. And I think that's big, to be honest with you. Listen, my next question to you is this. A 2-hour block is saying to the world they have something to show. Okay. But I think more than the importance of what they're going to actually show, it's going to be Phil Spencer's message, not just to the hardcore sitting in the audience, not just to the hardcore gamers who are going to be going back and forth on Twitter saying that we won E3, which I think, if you don't show up, you don't win. Like, this is not the participation trophy era. I don't believe in that. I think that if you're going to show up, you can win or lose. This is in fact Microsoft's conference to lose. I will admit that. But I think that Phil Spencer himself knows how important this is, and the messaging and the marketing must be in your face. They must show us as the gamers, as the Xbox fan base, the games that we want to see. And I'm sorry, again, maybe I'm sounding like an entitled kind of a gamer, but it's been a tough couple of years. Sea of Thieves, yes, it's grown, it's getting great. With every update, it's getting better. Crackdown 3 came out. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I hope there's a Crackdown 4. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. State of Decay 2, you like it or love it. I put over 60 hours into it. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. But when you talk about big games, when you talk about AAA bangers, is the term the new kids are talking about. Microsoft has the ability and has the talent to do that. We need to see that on display, and for a couple of reasons, Drew. The world is watching. This is the opportunity that they will never get again. Right? Sony is going to probably be back next year. They're going to want to show off their PS5. They're going to want to show off some new titles. So they're going to be there. This is, you ever heard the Goonies? This is our time, and this is what they need to do. Do you think that Phil Spencer's messaging must be as key as possible?
Dude, man, you just said it. Like this year's E3, the circumstance Xbox finds themselves in, and us as the gamers watching, whether you're a PlayStation fan, Nintendo fan, Xbox fan, whatever, the circumstance is very unique. Like, that can't be understated. Like, this probably will never happen again. Like, literally, people don't like to hear it, but it is the truth. The only reason Sony isn't there right now, like I say right now, but they haven't said they're going to be there right now, and they have no plans of being there. They've announced that they're stepping down from this year's E3. The only reason they're doing that is because they blew their load.
Yes.
Like, it sounds so generic. Like, really, is that it? Like, it's not a business decision. It's not like a bridge somewhere has been burnt. No. There's no arguments here. There's no hostility. They have literally blown all their load across the wall, and they've got nothing left in their ball sack, so they can't turn up. That's quite literally the reason. I mean, it's not a bad thing. But my point is, by this time next year, they're going to be blue balling. They're going to be like a bull ready to inseminate a bunch of female cows. Just like, come on, let's get these cattle going. Like, they're going to be ready to really do their shit as they've done every year before and every year preceding. They are going to be ready and waiting to hit that stage next year with likely a bunch of new projects they've got up their sleeve. So what I'm saying is, this year is a very unique situation. This is probably never going to happen again. Never again. Probably never going to happen again. So Xbox needs to just grab this opportunity by the scruff and be like, man, like you said, the world is watching. From third-party games, like fans of the third party to fans of the first party, the 2-hour big slot, all these new IPs, all these rumors, these leaks, like the list of expectations and excitement goes on, Boom. But the fact that all eyes are going to be on Xbox's stage, it's only going to happen once. It might only happen twice in a lifetime, but they just need to grab it by the horns. And with regards to messaging, while you have everyone's eyes on you, Boom, it can't be understated that they cannot leave any rocks unturned. They literally can't leave any rocks unturned. You know, as nothing they show on that, I've already said it, but nothing, whatever they show on that stage, it won't even matter outside of the hardcore fan base unless you message and market the platform thoroughly. I don't want to be a broken record. I know I said that a moment ago, but it's so true. I can't repeat it anymore. They could show 20 new IPs, 50 more acquisitions, and a new Xbox platform that fetches you a beer on demand. And none of that will matter if the messaging's bad. Nothing will matter if the pricing or all these different announcements are just skew. If they need to just come out all guns blazing, transparency, good messaging. It should be, it doesn't it's easier said than done, but it is as simple as that, Boom.
I mean, what we talked about is all great points. I think a lot of it is common sense. So I don't want to say the word concern, because I'm over the moon excited for E3, not just because I'm going. That is here nor there. I would have been beside myself just sitting home watching it on Mixer or something, to be honest, because Xbox is our platform, right? It's where we lay our heads down at night. Even though I support Sony and I proudly support Nintendo, Xbox is where I play the majority of I spend most of my time. Is where I play all of my games. So to see them fumble in an opportunity where the entire world is watching, and again, you keep reiterating on it, and I think it's a great point. They are never ever going to find themselves in this position ever again. Okay, because I think next year Sony goes right back to doing what they're doing. They're going to show a bunch of games. A lot of them are going to be first-party stuff. They're going to be very graphically intense, which is what I love about their games. A lot of them are probably going to be single-player, and they're going to be story-driven and adult-themed, which is, again, those things I like about what Sony does. And they're probably not going to be available for many, many years. So they're going to come out there. They're going to take they took some time off. They're going to have fresh legs. If you're a sports guy and you understand that if you take off a while, you get a little rust on you, but your body is healed and it's rested. So Microsoft has an opportunity where they're going to walk into the ring and win, but do not take that for granted, Phil Spencer. Go out there and pretend the other guy across the room is looking to knock your teeth out, and then you have to bring it to them forthwith. I mean, is that a good analogy?
Yeah, Boom. I'm going to actually steal your analogy from last week, because I did listen to the show. But you said it was either on last week's Xbox Factor or last week's Gaming News at Noon. I can't remember which one specifically, but you literally said the words, "They have a clear run to the end zone. Just do not fumble the ball."
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you could mess up. Imagine Dalvin Cook, a 40-yard stretch, no safety on him. No, he's got nothing. He's literally, it's a straight run, but he trips on a piece of grass and fumbles the ball. That's not what you want to see. That I just think that's the only thing. This is, you've said it before. This is Xbox's conference to lose.
Yes, I mean that. I mean that. Yes,
mate. It goes without saying, they've already hashtag, I hate saying this out loud, by the way, won E3 because they're the only bloody ones turning up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean the praise and the trophies and all the recognition and the positive articles are just going to be handed to you. It's yours to lose. As long as you turn up and just do your thing, as you've done E3's previous, but on a much bigger scale, more announcements, more bombs, man. It's theirs for the taking, Boom. Like you said, and I will only reiterate what you've said because it is bang on the money. You got a straight run. Do not fumble the ball because it is yours to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't trip on your own feet. You could win this thing, man. It's literally it's. I mean, and I don't mean win as in this sorry console war shit. I'm on about truly win, everyone's everyone's respect. Like, oh
Well,
wow, like
they
that
have
was
to
a show.
regain the confidence of the consumer, right? The
Absolutely.
Xbox fan base, even though we're supporting the brand, obviously, you're doing that by paying for Xbox Live. You're doing that by a lot of folks, jumping on the Xbox Game Pass. If you look at what they just released this week in regards to Void Bastards and the other the one in outer space. I forgot what actually it's called. You're getting new games there, so it's a win-win for everyone. Microsoft wins because they're being supported, and you're also winning. We're winning because we're getting games. But real quick, Kay Asante in the chat drops an outstanding $5 super chat, and they say read articles suggesting E3 gives Microsoft an opportunity to not only announce but show all new hardware and announce it coming spring 2020 mic drop. Well, look, first of all, I got news for you. Okay. That is a great point. I'm going to be honest. I've been doing this show for what are we doing this almost a year now.
Yeah.
I have never considered that at all. To be honest, I have never thought about what if Microsoft decides to drop the Anaconda in the spring. Like that is, I mean, that's such an incredible, sentence that you put together that I actually may make a topic about it. And I want to start, before I do these topics, I do a lot of digging and I don't talk out of my ass. There's a lot of work goes into this. So what you're saying is pretty incredible. I've never put the spring and Anaconda together. Now, is it likely? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure. But to me, Microsoft has, in the past launched their consoles in a November window. But wow, would that not just shock the world if Phil Spencer gets on stage and says, "Oh, by the way, here are these two new consoles. Here's Lockhart. Here's Anaconda." It would be tough to say they wouldn't say price, but if they're going to release these two consoles in the spring, I got news for you. I think Sony's in really big trouble. That would be, and he said mic drop. I think that would be. I don't what's bigger than a mic drop. I don't know, but whatever it is, it would definitely suit that kind of announcement. That's something I never considered. But Drew, I want to move on to the next topic if you're okay with that.
Yeah, mate, absolutely.
As we get closer to E3, we're going to get breaking news. And it just so happens that 2 days ago, we got some serious breaking news. And, there are people in this community that do not get the spotlight like they deserve. And I have to give a shout out to a few people. First of all, Stubbs Gaming, who's always DMing me. We're always talking. He's always dropping articles. Dreadpool, who has bailed us out on numerous occasions, has always been dropping articles. But there's one dude that needs to be out in the open. That if you're not following this guy, shame on you. Because he doesn't just drop Xbox news. He gives me more articles than I know what to do with, to be honest with you. And I'm talking about The Finest. Follow this dude on Twitter, THA-Finest. He has given me more stories this week than I think I could even handle. And we power these shows by writing, and like I do a lot of writing, but I couldn't do it without the people in the chat. I couldn't do it without the support through Patreon. I couldn't do it by the people coming and checking out the videos, and I certainly could not do it without the incredible community that we have. So I just wanted to say thank you to him and everyone that does send me information. But the new information that he sent me, I thought was incredible. Fable 4 is getting some serious traction, that it is in fact going to be shown at this year's E3. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a dog running and you're kicking a chicken kind of a trailer. I don't know, but I can tell you this. Rumors of the new Fable game first appeared a couple of years ago, Drew. You and I have talked about this forever, and we're all on the same page that Playground Studios is in fact working on a Fable game. Now, whether it's called Fable 4, I don't know. But then, of course, at E3 2018 last year, head of Xbox, our good friend Phil Spencer, confirmed that Playground Games was in fact working on an open world RPG, fueling speculation that the studio is in fact developing Fable, a Fable game, whether it's 4 or a reboot, which is what I would like. We like I said, the new evidence is here. Now, I have to give credit to Reddit user Snow9876, where Microsoft's Mixer streaming service has Fable 4 appearing in the search bar when players go to select what game they're streaming. Now, it's possible this means nothing, okay? But it's also possible, and my glass is always half full, folks. It's also possible it means a shit ton. And let me just say this. If there's one thing, Drew, that needs to happen at E3 2019, it's the confirmation that Fable is in fact in some sort of development. If you don't want to show anything, I hear you. You want to give us a logo like Nintendo did with Metroid Prime 4. I would be disappointed, but I would be at least we'll finally know for a fact that they're working on it. So here's my question to you, Drew. Okay. Now, we've talked about how important Microsoft's message is, what Phil Spencer is going to talk about, what they're going to show. But I have to say, I don't think as important as Gears is, as important as the new DLC for, of course, Horizon 4, Gears, Halo Infinite, all of these titles, they're important. But nothing, in my professional opinion, is more important than telling your fan base for a fact that there isn't, Fable is being made and who's making it. What do you think about that? Do you think it's necessary to tell people that there is a Fable in development and who is making the damn game?
Right. That I'll be honest. That mix of things showing up with Fable 4. In the search bar is a very interesting thing, to be fair. I will be honest, that did make my ears prick up a little bit. I was like, ooh, okay. But I will say this, I won't advise people to look at that specifically and go, yay, Fable's actually happening because of this. Because, I'm a glass half full kind of guy as well, Boom. But like, obviously on that, just to be quite blunt about it, like I only say don't get excited about that specific thing because it could have been a suggested or most searched thing where people have searched for Fable 4 opposed to there actually being a Fable 4 on Mixer. So, but in any case, Fable, like we've said it so many times, Boom, it is on most, if not everyone's minds at this point. I can say with complete confidence, like on a personal level, I do believe Fable is in the works. I'm very, very confident in that fact, honestly, Boom. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. But I will say this, Boom, and I know you'll agree because you pretty much just alluded to it a moment ago. Microsoft are not blind or deaf to the screams of Fable. They are not. Like, I mean, they might be. I certainly don't take them for ignorant people neither. So all I will ask of Phil and team on a personal level, like I'm very much for the gamer, but this one's for me. I gotta be honest, Boom. This now is for me.
Right.
Please, for the love of God, Phil, if you are listening, if you are in fact working on this Fable, then show us
something. We have to see literally something.
Anything will do. Literally, Phil, anything. And my counterpoint as well, you have my full blessing, Phil, to break the hearts of thousands. If you are in fact not working on a new Fable, then please tell us. Like, either way, just either throw it out there. Yep, it's happening. Mic drop. Let E3 be yours in less than a 3-word sentence. Fable is happening. There we are. E3 won. Or the opposite. It's going to break a few hearts, mine included. But just if you're not working on it, just put that flame out for me, please, because I'm sick of assuming, speculating, jumping around like a nutter every year, hoping for a Fable. I'd rather just know either way. People would be disappointed, Boom, including myself, like I just said, but it'd be better in the long run. I do believe that wholeheartedly if they just said it's not happening. Initially, it'd be like a cut to the arm, like, even like as if someone's just thrown salt on the wound. It's like, oh my man, oh god. But after like a few weeks of processing that information, like if it is in fact not happening and they announce it, a few weeks later you'll be over it. You'll be like, man, it's annoying, but at least I now know it's not happening. But then with all that said, guys, I'm the hypocrite with the big old H at the beginning. I am so certain we're going to see Fable at E3. I don't mean to get people's hopes up. I hope I don't ruin your lives by being wrong. But this E3 is so important for the future of Xbox, getting hardcore and the casuals alike on the hype train. And what better way than the announcement of Fable, in my personal opinion, as well as other ones. Like there's some other games out there, like I've heard rumblings of a Rise 2. I'm
right there with you. I still think that Crytek is being purchased, but that's a horse of another color.
That's the thing, though. Like we could have a whole podcast, Boom, where we just speculate, because frankly, the only thing between what we're talking about and what might actually happen, the only thing between those two things is Phil Spencer and his checkbook.
Yeah, that's correct.
There's literally nothing stopping Phil and team making a Fable, making a Rise 2, or anything else for that matter. Literally the world is your oyster, Boom. Whatever you can think of that has either already been made, hasn't been made, an idea you've got. The only thing between what we're speaking about now and what you're thinking and it actually happening is Phil and his checkbook. So my point is, guys, like, use your voices. Like, click the share button, click the like button, get this out there. The more people who hear about this, like, it's just going to shift bricks. Like, but like I said, Microsoft aren't deaf, they're not blind, they're not stupid. I really do believe we're going to see a Fable. Like we said, we can speculate all day about a Rise 2 and all these other things, a Banjo-Kazooie, a new Conker game, a Mech Assault. There's so many possibilities, Boom. And the beauty is, nothing we're saying is so far-fetched it couldn't happen. All Phil has to do is commit to the idea, be like, yep, people are asking for this, put the money in the right place, recruit to the right people. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, that's a really great point. You see there, look, I don't work for Microsoft, though. If anyone from the team is listening and you want someone in marketing, I really that would be a dream job for me. Working for the NYPD for my career, my prior career, that was a dream come true. I since I was playing with GI Joes, I dreamt of being a police officer, and I fulfilled that dream, and I did a great job, and I met so many people, and that was an amazing part of my life. Now I'm into the gaming part of my life. And working for Microsoft personally would be like an accomplishment of the highest power possible. So if anyone's listening and you want someone who's a master at marketing, just click the thumbs up button. Go down to the description and and email me. We can talk. But I'm going to say this, Jerome. All jokes aside. Microsoft, besides having the most golden opportunity in the history of opportunities, you have to, if you look at a 2-hour block, right, they're probably going to open the show with Halo. And I mean, listen, there are bookends and then there are bookends. And when I say that, I'm not taking away from anyone. I'm not dumping on Sony. I'm not dumping on Nintendo. But when you talk about, if you want to bookend the show, you start with Halo Infinite and you finish with Gears 5. And then you might have some sort of a secret announcement. The lights go dim and then everyone just shits their pants, right? But it's peppered in between of these monsters, these behemoths that are going to define gaming for the Xbox gamer and could possibly bring over new players from other platforms, which I think they can do, okay? You throw a Rise 2. You throw a Sunset Overdrive 2. You throw Ninja Theory's game in there. You throw what the initiative is working on. You could logistically, people will have, there's going to be ambulance called there by the dozens. People are going to be falling over themselves in the aisles. And that's what you want. Talking about this out loud has given me goosebumps from my toes to the top of my head. So obviously I'm heavily invested and I'm very excited to see what Microsoft has to offer. But if they do it right, they could shock the entire world. And I think Fable, wherever you put it, If you want to be balls to the wall, you open up with Fable and you have people being carted out immediately 10 minutes after the show starts. Okay. But if you want people to hang around, you do it in the middle. Fable must be there in some form or fashion. The people, me, you, everyone, the 106 people watching right now live, the people that are going to watch this afterwards want to know that this game is in development. It is an absolute must. There is no excuse that I'm going to accept as an Xbox gamer from Phil, from Mike, from Aaron, from anybody. We need to know that this is in development, and we need to know who is making the game. End of story. Do you agree with that, Drew?
Oh, boom. I don't think there's a man alive, or woman alive for that matter, that would disagree with you. It's so true. Even if you're not a big fan of the Fable franchise, man, I hear you. If it's not your bag, it's not your bag. I'm not going to diss you. But even those people wouldn't be against having a Fable game.
No, none of them would. They know that, they know how important it is.
Oh, mate, absolutely. And all I'll say is this as well. Even if, and this is a huge if, because like I've said, I'll put my left nut on the line that they are making a Fable game. But I am telling you now that at the very least, Boom, if they come out and say, guys, Fable isn't happening, but Playground Games is working on the next level shit, and they show off what Playground is actually working on, not what we've been speculating them to be working on, and they've just attacked their own version of the open world fantasy RPG, almost like Xbox's own version of The Witcher, with that minus the cars, because obviously their bread and butter is the Forza Horizon franchise. My point being, it would numb the blow. Like, it'd be like, okay, we're not getting Fable, but shit the bed, that looks cool, whatever the fuck that is. Good on you, Playground. Like, and if not Playground, then whoever. Like, what the hell are they working on at the initiative? Like, I don't care at this point. Like, I'm 99.999% certain Fable is coming. It's going to be massive. I can't wait for that announcement. I'm putting my, like, everything on the line of that happening. But even if it's not, and like I said, Phil comes out and says, guys, I'm sorry, but it's not happening. I just hope that they numb that blow with a few massive new, like, whatever. Like we know for a fact Playground is working on a new open world RPG.
Right.
So if that is not Fable, because obviously up until this point, everyone and their dog has gotten the impression that Playground are working on the new Fable game. But if that ceases to be factual, then whatever they are working on, I want to see what they're working on, and I want to get hyped for that to numb the blow of there being no Fable.
Yeah,
real
quick. JD Gamer, who's a big supporter of the channel, asked actually a question: what 10 announcements do you expect or believe must happen on stage at E3 2019? So what I'm going to do is we're actually not going to answer that today, because we do have one show left before I fly out to LA Friday morning, and we'll make that a topic. I don't know if we're going to be able to do 10, because that's a big list. We might do what 5. 5. We'll do it half, but we'll save that for JD. We'll save that for next week's show. It's going to be our E3 2019 prediction show right before I fly out. Like I said, for Friday morning. But I want to move on to the next topic, Drew. I think it's a good one, and it's making me smile. When I was writing this, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, I had a big cheese-ass smile on my face. Gears 5 has been confirmed to have an open-world element to it. It will run at 4K and 60 frames per second for the entire game. That includes single player. This is what we're hearing. And it's going to be a much bolder Gears than ever before. And to say that I'm stoked would be an absolute ridiculous understatement. So, according to the article, it appears that the coalition has grand ambitions on what they want Gears 5 to look like, and it's going to change the long-running franchise in ways we've never even dreamed of. Well, I've only dreamed of, because I want open world. Now, look, I've been very clear on what I personally want for the next Gears to be. The corridor point-to-point shooter that defined action shooters on what we look at today were great. but they've also had 5 titles in the franchise, and of course, I think time time for change is now. And I'm not saying that I want to not use Lancers. I'm not going to say I don't want Roadie Run, and I'm not saying that I want the gears to look so different it doesn't look like gears. But I have to say, and I agree with Gaming Boat, which is where I pulled this article from. They found, and I don't know if someone sent it to them or they went looking for it, but it appears to be an official Microsoft document that they posted on their website where Gears 5's details leaked online. And of course, this was originally spotted by Xbox Insider, our good friend Clobriel, on Reset Era. And there's some pretty interesting stuff in there. For starters, it mentions a journey across the biggest, most beautiful Gears world ever. Well, that says something, because we know that even though Gears is great and it's one of the pillars in Microsoft's arsenal, it's also always been very closed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the world's never seemed too big. And I kind of want to see that, because I want to see the world of Gears. I want to see different seasons. I don't want to see the same burnt cars. I don't want to see the same broken buildings. I want to look around and see actually some trees growing. And I think that because we're so removed from what happened at the end of Gears 3, there is a possibility that could, in fact, be the case. But Drew, what's more interesting is the document that they found mentions Gears 5, and I'm going to reiterate it, will be running at 4K 60 and will support HDR. And if it's running on the single player at 4K 60 with HDR, you're talking probably the best looking game on any console. End of story. There's no denying it. And you got to remember, last year when we saw that little trailer, that melted my face off, Drew. First of all, before I get into the other questions, if you're going just based on what they showed us last year, an entire year removed, what are you expecting Gears to look like at E3 2019?
Oh. Man, I mean, Christ. Do you know what, Boom? Honestly, man, it's very rare I'm rendered speechless. But it's so hard to answer that question. I mean, like, you look at this document and it says visual showcase, play every mode in 4K Ultra HD resolution with stunning HDR at a smooth 60 frames. The key bit here that catches my eye is play every mode. Like, don't get me wrong, I know this isn't like confirmed or anything. It's all like rumor, speculation. But like that if that is true, and we could play multiplayer or single player or horde mode or whatever in 4K 60, that's gonna make a lot of people happy. But man, if you're asking me what I think, in comparison, do I think it, like, mate, honestly, like, we've gotten to a point with gaming, I feel, that like I'm stuttering. See, you've rendered me speechless. Like, I just don't know how it can get any better. Like it seems to, though, it gets better and better all the time. But like, I saw the trailer for Gears 5 last year, and my God, like, wow, like, and then couple that with the Halo Infinite Slipspace engine demo. Couple that with Cyberpunk
2077.
2077. Yeah, that's it. I went to say 2033 then. Yeah, and I'm sure there's many more. But like, and you look and you think, man, like, that's it. Like, it can't get any better than that. Like that's any better, and you're looking at photographs. Like, it absolutely blows my mind. So when you're asking me, like, with regards to the Gears 5 trailer from last year to this year, what do you expect to see? I don't have an answer for you. I really don't. I don't know what to say, other than I have no doubt in my mind it is going to look fantastic. And it's the Coalition. It's their first party. They are. It's a cross-gen title, so they have got their hands on the next generation hardware. They are building that game with that hardware in mind. Same goes with Halo, and if there's a new Fable or any one of these games. But chatting of Gears, like this game is being built with the next gen hardware in mind from the ground up, and like there's just no saying, like, because we don't know the specs, the full reveal of this Anaconda, and we don't know what it's capable of. Who knows, Boom? We could be sitting there. You'll physically be sitting there because you're actually going, you lucky bastard. but you could be sitting in the bloody in the room with you in your chair, and they could literally just start, like, bring out Rod Ferguson. It's like, today we're going to show you Kate. She's on a journey to find out this, that, and the other. Enjoy the footage, guys. And then he walks off. The lights dim, and then the first thing you see before you see the Gears logo or anything, captured on the Xbox Anaconda, or captured on the Xbox Scarlet, or whatever, just so you know that what you're about to witness is on the next gen hardware. And it's just like, man, like, whether it's it's going to be mind melting, face melting, toe melting. I fully expect to like lose an eye after E3 this year, just with excitement, like my eye just pops.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of big things. And, I want to go back to this supposed leaked document. And again, folks, you have to, until Rod Ferguson or Phil Spencer confirms any of this, we have to take things with a grain of salt. But there are a lot of big publications running with this. And obviously, we're a very small channel. So we're gonna go with it as well. Obviously it starts out with quoting a positioning statement where it says Gears 5 is the highly anticipated sequel to one of the most acclaimed video game franchises, coming exclusive to the Xbox One and Windows in 2019. All right, simple, run-of-the-mill PR shenanigans, right? And then it goes into where it says the world is crumbling and your enemies are uniting. As Kate, you must journey across the biggest, most beautiful Gears world ever to discover your family's dark connection to the enemy and fight to save what remains of humanity. So, of course, that sounds dope, right? And then it goes into never fight alone. Play solo or with a friend in local split screen co-op or online co-op. Battle us alongside your friends anywhere with a cross-play between both Xbox One and PC. And this is where it gets kind of really good for me as a fan. And what I want Gears. It says, explore Serra, skim across glaciers, sail across deserts, and descend into sunken ruins to discover the largest, most diverse Gears world ever created. Now, if you're in this chat right now and you're listening live, and that statement alone doesn't have you bouncing off the walls in excitement, you might want to check your pulse, because you probably are dead. I'm telling you right now, this is again, until they confirm all of this, we have to just take it as it's a leak, and leaks sometimes could be debunked. But last, but certainly not least, it finishes off with visual showcase. You said it. Play every mode in 4K Ultra HD resolution with stunning HDR at a smooth 60 frames per second. Now, Drew, with all of that said, this is a big deal for the Gears franchise. There's no denying how important this franchise is. I say this without any huff in my voice. For Microsoft, the Gears franchise is as important as John 117, the Master Chief, and Halo. The end of story. No one is bigger than the other. I think both franchises stand tall. When you're walking up to Xbox University, Master Chief is on the left, Marcus is on the right, and they're giant golden statues. That's what you're welcomed with. Those are two big IPs. They're two big characters, but more specifically, the Gears franchise is important. And seeing them, Rod Ferguson and that team say, okay, we did what we did with 4 to kind of just get our footing and prove to the gamers that we can do a Gears game. And you know what? A lot of people didn't dig the DBs. I didn't really dig the robots. I'm going to be honest with you, but I played through it, and I'm going to play through Gears I think my third or fourth time before Gears 5 this year to kind of get, reacclimate myself with the controls and, of course, the story. But Drew, here's the thing. As we get closer to E3 2019, the more information will continue to pour out. There's no doubt about it. And of course, there's going to be tons of Gears 5. I hope nothing leaks until the day of the show. No leaks at all. I want to be surprised. But in your opinion, how important is Gears 5 not only to the Xbox platform, but actually to the gaming verse, if you will, that this is the biggest and the best Gears in the history of the franchise?
Oh man, this whole thing, mate, Gears 5, I have no doubt is going to, the same way Halo Infinite is going to be like the refab of the Halo franchise.
Yes,
I expect Gears, honestly, I do fully expect Gears to just go right back to like basically where it all started in terms of like just that compelling story, but like they're going bigger with the more, the more exploration. It's going to be phenomenal. I will say this though, like with these leaks and stuff, they do get me excited, but I'm quite conflicted. Not to change the subject or anything, but I am very conflicted with leaks like this, and I'll explain why. Like on one hand, it gives us an idea of what we could possibly see, and that's obviously exciting. It also gives us some incredible conversations, Boom, like we're having now. On these shows, people doing videos, it gives us a lot to talk about. And if you look past the reality of it for 5 seconds, like I said, it's undeniably exciting. Everything we've just read from that document is undeniably exciting. But where I am conflicted, Boom, and I just need you to talk me off the edge, to be honest, because it is something I've been thinking for a few years now. But where I am conflicted is on principle. I detest these leaks. And I'll explain why again. Like for me, like Xbox especially just can't catch a break when it comes to their E3s. I mean, everyone in the chat, please tell me if you think I'm talking shit, but like, hear me out. Like every year without fail, Boom, we get parts of the conference, details of games like we're getting now with Gears 5, arguably one of the biggest games to be on our stage this year. They're leaked and information dropped, whether factual or false, we won't know until the day. But as I said, it is quite exciting, but at the same time, it's a bit of a bummer. As for me, it takes the initial surprise away, not to mention that if these leaks appear credible, but end up not being that way at E3, then people are inevitably going to be feeling disappointed, and Xbox will only get it in the neck, and they will.
Yeah.
For me, it's like no different to someone like, say you've been queuing up for 4 hours with a tent and a jar of coffee to watch the Avengers Endgame premiere, and then some
a-hole walks out of the theater and goes, "Yeah, this person just died." That's why people got assaulted this year, and I say good on them. Because don't do that to people. Don't be a jerk.
Exactly. But the only difference is, at least that dude who got a shoe in had the balls to do it face to face. Like these people who leak and fabricate things or grab things, like they're likely insiders, people who work for Microsoft, maybe as someone who works for the coalition, and they thought, "Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll grab this, put it there." I just think it's disgusting, man. Like, I mean, it does get me excited on one hand, but I don't know. I just had to say my piece on the whole leak thing, man, because I'm just one man. I'm just the Welsh gamer. As a gamer, I find it exciting. And on a very less serious note, I am very excited for Gears 5. It's undoubtedly going to break massive benchmarks for gaming. And if these leaks are true, they show real promise for the direction of the franchise. And I am truly, truly excited. But I got to just be that little bit serious dude for like 2 minutes and just say that, like, and I hope, I'm curious if you agree, Boom, and same with everyone in the chat. 1, if you agree. 2, if you think, Welsh, you're talking shit, no one likes you.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say no one likes you, but UK Dazra says you're talking shit. So that's not a big surprise.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I listen. I agree with you. I understand that. We do these shows and we need the information, but at the same time, if you want to tell me that Gears is 60 frames in 4K HDR, with HDR, that's fine. But I don't want to know the secrets. I don't want to be told by like a Jeff Keighley, what's going on with Xbox, because he has no affiliation to it. Like I said, I keep going back to what he did with the X, and that's why I don't follow him on Twitter. I don't support him at all. I thought what he did was a real jerk kind of a move. And from that, and again, I used to be a supporter of all his stuff. I was like, God, Jeff Keighley, that's a good dude. And then he did this, and he turned me off. And I don't tweet at him. I don't read any of his stuff. I tune into the Game Awards, but that's only because I want to see the games. I'm not tuning in for him. But I'm hoping that we don't get anything damaging. I want people, the thing is this, for gamers, this is our Super Bowl. I know you've heard Mooch say that numerous times. You've heard a lot of people say that, as a matter of fact. And I think it's the truth. I think that this is, Gamescom is big for Europe. Obviously, in your area, Gamescom is the E3 for America. But for here in the States, E3 is the biggest. I mean, look, I'll put it to you this way. When the local news channels are sending their reporters to cover it, it's world news. And I understand it's just video games, but, we as gamers, everyone in the chat, everyone that's going to listen to this eventually, we look forward to this. This is our Christmas, if you will. And, I like leaks, but at the same time, I also enjoy surprises more. And I would really hope, and I think someone on I'm not sure who on the Xbox team said it, but there have been very little leaks, and they're very, very happy with it, but they're nervous. And obviously, if you have all these, this eventually something is going to pop out that shouldn't have. I hope that's not, in fact, the case. I want everything to run smooth. I want everyone that's sitting in that auditorium to be completely blown away. I want people that are going to be watching at home, on YouTube, on Mixer, on your favorite service, as who are Xbox fans who support this brand, to be blown away from start show to finish show. So, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I agree with you.
One more thing, though, Boom.
Sure, by all means, go ahead.
I'm just going to say this and only this. I don't mean to be negative Nelly about leaks. I'm just being honest in my, you just got to put yourself in the shoes of people like Rod Ferguson. Unless they're controlled leaks, I'm sure this shit does happen. But imagine you're Rod Ferguson and team. You've been pouring your blood, sweat, and tears into this game, and you wanted to wait until E3 to drop that bombshell that every mode was going to be 4K 60. Which is unprecedented in console gaming, mind. I'll have you know. On top of that, the fact that it's going to be semi-open world, you're going to be able to visit this part of the map, that part of the map. You're going to be able to venture through Sarah. Imagine all those things Rod Ferguson and team have had up their sleeve since E3 last year, and they've been waiting for June 9th to blow our faces off with that. Now, think about it. You're Rod Ferguson, and all that information I just said.
The wind has been completely taken out of the sail.
Yeah, because just look at this leak. I'm not trying to be negative Nelly here, but regardless of whether you're a skeptic and you don't believe a word of what this says, and big more power to you. The fact that you've now read it and it's in the back of your mind, subconsciously, you're not going to be as mind blown as you would have been if there was no leak in the first place. Like, that's what I'm getting at. It's literally like going to queue up for Avengers Endgame and then some prick comes out and tells you who died, what happens, who fell over, who stubbed their toe, and you go in and you're like, well, what's the point in watching this now? I know everything that big is going to happen. It's annoying. But Boom, you're asking me how I feel about Gears. I'm going to put my negative Nelly hat to one side for 1 second. Gears 5 is going to be my game of the year. No doubt a game of the year contender. And my God, it is deserved just by the trailers. Like, literally, I hate judging games too early, especially when, even if it's a game I enjoy or like or a franchise I love. But just based off the trailers and the franchise itself is just getting better and better, strength to strength, bigger and better every time they bring out a game. This game is going to melt faces. I can't wait to play it. 4K 60 across the board. If there's any truth to that, that is music to my ears. Man, Give it to me now, god damn it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But listen, I'm going to say this. First of all, the way to combat this, and I think you actually said it very early in today's show, is show it running, show a mission. Do a little bit of a single player snippet. In like one of the different areas, whether it be the snow part of Sarah, whether it's the desert, whether it's dilapidated base, whatever. And then you show your playthrough. And then Rod finishes off before he walks off and says, "Listen, folks, just kind of want to give it a heads up. This is running on Xbox Anaconda hardware. You know what I'm saying? And that would be like a mic drop moment. But you also, that's a bit of a double-edged sword, because obviously it's coming out this year. Anaconda is not. So maybe I'm going to withdraw that statement now that I'm thinking about it and say, okay, this is running on the X. The statement I just made is what you do with Halo Infinite. You show single player, you show multiplayer. In fact, you know what? Let's segue into Halo Infinite talk while I have it in front of me. Some trailer details leaked. Again, these leaks coming obviously late 2020. We all have heard this before. We've also heard that this is going to be a launch title for the Anaconda, which makes sense. This story I happened to pull from Gaming Instincts. I've never heard of them before, but they're actually a pretty cool website. According to an image that's spreading on the internet, Drew, Halo Infinite will be premiered at, of course, E3 2019 with a trailer that shows both single player and a multiplayer section of the game. As the image claims, the E3 demo will take place on a Halo ring as Master Chief attempts to rescue a squad of Marines that have been taken by the Forerunners in a forest. It's being said that the mission is like what we've seen in the second level of Halo Combat Evolved. However, the mission that's going to be debuted in this trailer will end with the group entering into a village of farming humans, and it says hobbits, but I think they don't mean actual hobbits. But one strange thing about the mystery robotic character that speaks to Matt, there's going to be a character that's going to be speaking to Master Chief. He sounds robotic, and like I said, reading this out loud, this is significantly detailed shit. Now, whether it's true, we won't know until the 9th of June, which is only a week and some change away. But Halo Infinite is, this is what they're saying. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. You know how we were talking about everything needs to be open world? Well, Halo Infinite is not an open world game, according to this, but the maps are huge enough that they're going to offer open level missions. And the article continues with, moreover, the game will feature brutes once again, showing up in, like they did in Halo 3. Also, Forerunners will fight against you with new guns and cutting-edge weapons. The Promethean Knight will be one of the challenging bosses of the game, and that he will apparently appear in the trailer. But there's no word of the Flood, which I think maybe they're holding back. I'm actually hoping that the Flood does come back. I know people are like, oh my God, the Flood, they're terrible. They're part of
the Flood.
Me too.
I'm right there with you, Boom. When I read this, I was like,
where's the Flood? Well, real quick before I get into the question, I have to thank Ricardo Willis for the outstanding $2 super chat. He says, need to show Gears 5 on the XX to blow minds. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, and it does make sense, but you want to show something that's not going to be available for a while. And I think that the title that you could do that with, or the two titles, is you could probably use the power of the Anaconda showing off. Of course, the easy answer is Halo Infinite, or surprisingly enough, they can show what Ninja Theory's game is going to look like on the Anaconda, which I think would melt people's eyeballs.
I gotta be honest, Boom. It's not very often I disagree with you, but I genuinely do think that no matter what game any game that is going to be shown on that E3 stage, if they can show a build running on the next gen hardware, I say they should do it.
I agree. I'm right there with you. I agree, but I don't necessarily think that it should be it should be something that a game that's coming out this year. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to show what that game is going to look like on the Xbox One X to move Xbox One X consoles. See, that's what I would do. A game that's not releasing until, you know, the end of 2020, right along your console, like a Halo Infinite, possibly the Ninja Theory game, or something else that they're working on that's going to release along with it, would be better suited for that, for a demonstration on the hardware that at this point is vaporware. Like we know what the system is going to be. We don't know the specific details. We don't know the actual innards of how many teraflops and how fast the CPU is going to clock and or overclock. We don't know any of that.
Do you know what? It's a double-edged sword. It's a funny question you present. Like, should they or should they not? Because on one hand, I personally think that they should showcase their future hardware, even if it's a game coming out this year. But then at the same exact time, you make a cracking point there, Boom, that a lot of people might be turned off of buying the hardware that's currently available.
Exactly.
Because they've seen, like, I don't know the percentile of people that would be that way, but I can imagine there'd be at least some people out there like, man, why would I buy the X when this time next year I could just pre-order my Anaconda and I'll just wait. It's cool. I'll just chill on my 1S for now. Or like, I get it. I get what you're saying. But at the same time, like I said, the main reason it came to mind immediately, like, oh no, they should just showcase, is because this whole E3, as I've said time and time again, is so important for more than just the games they show on that stage. It is to bridge that gap between now and next generation, to get people hyped for next generation, get people talking about next generation, ultimately get people talking about Xbox and the next generation hardware. Now, a game like Gears, if judging by what we have already seen from E3 last year, if that's how good it looks on the X and whatever, I think a lot of people are going to be happy regardless of what they show it on. And in the past E3s, we've seen games that have been shown running on a PC, like Forza Motorsport. And that's, you know, even an Xbox game has been running on PC live on the stage. It has happened. So what is to say that showing it on the future hardware wouldn't kill two birds with one stone? It'd get people mega hyped for a game that's coming out this year, which is going to be the best in the franchise and likely a Game of the Year contender. And on top of that, you are showcasing with one of the best possible examples how fucking capable the future of Xbox's hardware is going to be. I don't know. I'm on the fence, Boom. I completely get what you're saying. I really do. It is a double-edged sword, but I'm curious what people think in the chat. Like, just put comments down. Like, what do you think? Do you think one, if you think that they should just, if, you know, no matter what game it is, Gears, Fable, Halo, Forza, whatever, they should showcase it, you know, on the future hardware, or put a 2 down if you think, like, exactly what Boom is saying, that games that are coming out within the next year, they should just showcase on the hardware we have currently. So what do you guys think? But no, Boom, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But look, let me just say this. This is really incredible information that seems to be very legit, Drew. But though, like we always say, you have to, until Microsoft or 343 confirms it, we have to take it with a grain of salt. But it is great information to talk about on today's show. Here's my question to you. With what we've discovered or discussed on the Halo Infinite topic, does this make you even more excited? Number one. But number two, in your opinion, for someone that is a diehard Xbox gamer, would you consider this the rebirth of the beloved Xbox franchise known as Halo?
Ah, Boom. I've been waiting for this question, man. I've been waiting. This is probably the one I've been looking forward to talking about the most, because Halo is a really big, it's a big one for me. Halo is a big one. Halo is what got me into Xbox. But before I go any further, Boom, it seems you've won unanimously, mate. I'm seeing maybe a couple of ones. Everyone else has said 2. You win, mate. You win. But not either way, man. I'm all for it. But man, in answer to your question, Halo Infinite, Boom. And I want everyone to pay close attention to what I'm about to say here, because I gave it a lot of thought, and that goes for everyone in the chat as well. Whether you're a fan of Halo or not, I urge you to just, perk your ears, because Halo Infinite, Boom, is going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
I really, honestly, I genuinely do think that 343 is going for that mysterious and very inviting vibe with Halo Infinite, the same way Halo Combat Evolved drew people in way back in the Xbox OG era. Now, just to give you some context, guys, a good friend of mine, a lot of you have probably heard of him already, Microbox of X. He told, like, this is one of the first stories he told me when me and him met way back when. Like, we've been good friends ever since. But it's a story he's told me a few times, and it's a great story because I think a lot of people can relate to it. But my good friend Microbox of X told me a story once of how he was a PlayStation through and through kind of guy back in the day. He was not interested in anything else. He had a lot of, like, Sega and all that. He had a lot of the other systems, some of the Nintendos, but his main platform of choice was PlayStation. He's even said to me, like, he remembers when the Xbox OG was revealed and announced, and he was just like, screw Microsoft. Because for anyone who like, even remembers, like, there was a bad taste left in people's mouths because of certain sketchy shit that Bill Gates was up to over at Microsoft. People still hold Microsoft accountable these days, which is silly, but hey ho. But my point is, Micro was PlayStation through and through back in the day, and he openly stated that there was a time where he literally had zero interest in the Xbox platform until that fateful day that he saw Halo Combat Evolved running on a OG Xbox in his local game shop, which in America would be like his local GameStop.
Yeah.
Without hesitation, the man who hated Xbox and wanted nothing to do with it because it was from the corporate bloodsuckers, Windows and Microsoft, and he was a PlayStation pony. He's even told me this. He was a full-fledged pony back in the day, but without hesitation, because of the power of what Halo was offering and how immersive and out of it and completely in a league of its own, he left that building within that hour with an OG Xbox clutch in hand and a copy of Halo Combat Evolved, and he's never looked back. He has since then been, and to this day, he is an Xbox fan through and through, and it started with Halo Combat Evolved. Now, the thing to point out here, Boom, the point I'm trying to make is around the houses I might be going, is that that story that I've heard from Micro, and it's a great story, is very similar to how I was introduced to Xbox and Halo. The same way a lot of other friends of mine were introduced to Halo as well, from casual to the hardcore. Halo 1, 2, and 3 just has this ability. Well, I should say had, because obviously it's, they're very old titles now, but it did just have this ability to catch your attention and invite you in. And I honestly do believe, with a bit of trial and error, because they've had some practice now, but I do believe that 343 Industries is going for this angle with Halo Infinite. Back to the OG Halo roots and feel, but with a more modern and vast exploration ability that was not afforded to you back in the OG Xbox era due to technology limitations.
Yeah.
That, they are honestly, Boom, they are going to knock it out of the park. And if these leaks are anything to go by, then Halo is back in a big way and is coming through like a bulldozer. But I can say this quite confidently. 343 is a phenomenal developer that probably they are the best people for the job. People to this day are like, we want Bungie back. Bungie left you in the dirt. Bungie went off to make Destiny, and we all know how that fucking turned out. So shut up. 343 is literally the Avengers assembled with regards to every single human being with a pulse that works in that building are die-hard Halo fans. What better people to be working on Halo? Yes, Halo 4 had its ups and downs. Yes, Halo 5 had its ups and downs. As me and Boom have said before, they've learned from one another. What one was good for, the other one was bad for. But they have learned, honestly, like, you don't make an omelet without cracking a bunch of eggs. You don't build Rome in a day. There is so much in with this, like, development side of things. Like, and I just think 343 have the right passions in place, the right mindset in place, and they know where they've gone wrong and they know what they've done right. And from what we're hearing, Boom, that I go back to exactly what I said about 2 paragraphs ago. Their aim, their goal, their whole vision with Halo Infinite is to just take you right back to that exact same seat you were in back when you were playing Halo Combat Evolved on the OG Xbox, but in 2020 with a much more capable box, much more options to explore, a much more immersive, colorful, and mind-melting world to be in. Oh man, I tell you what, mate, this is literally the game of dreams if you're a Halo fan. And I do think as well, even people who are not Halo fans or were Halo fans and since ditched Halo after the departure of Bungie, I do think, like I said at the very start of my answer, Boom, Halo Infinite is going to surprise a lot of people. And I genuinely do think that they are going for that very mysterious and inviting vibe like they did with like Halo Combat Evolved did back in the day. Case in point, Boom, I'm excited. And this game is going to, I know we've said it with Gears and if there was a Fable, mind melting, but Halo Infinite is quite literally going to melt minds.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make a lot of great points, dude. There's just no doubt about it. Again, the way that you basically you explained it is it's important. Halo is important. Anyone that thinks that the franchise does not still have legs, maybe this is just not the platform for you. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, of course, it's some people would consider it long in the tooth, but when you have the new engine coming and you have a new direction that they want to take, they want to expand it, they want to expand the lore, they want to expand the fact that we're going to be fighting on a Halo ring. That excites me enough by itself. But real quick, before we move on to the next topic, a big fan of the show, JD Gamer with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, how powerful do you all think the next-gen Anaconda hardware is? Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm confident, without a doubt, that the same way that Microsoft took back the Power Crown with the Xbox One X, they will regain or retain their heavyweight championship belt. Sony's PS5 is going to be a good, strong piece of hardware, but the Anaconda is going to be better. End of story. If you're in the chat and that makes you that get your feathers all in a ruff, I'm not doing it to be a jerk. I'm just telling you fact. The Anaconda is going to be the most powerful hardware Microsoft has ever put together. Like I said, taking nothing away from the PS5, Phil said it himself, they will never again be behind in power. That's a fact. That came out of his mouth. So I think it's safe to say, and Drew, what is your answer to that question? Do you believe that they're going to retain the Power Crown?
Oh, mate, absolutely. I mean, that's a given at this point. And with answer to your question, you just got to put it into perspective. Like the 1S2, aka the Lockhart, is already being confirmed to be significantly more powerful than the Xbox One X. And that's just the entry model for next generation.
Yeah.
So when you compare the 1S that we have now to the 1X we have now, and the leap is massive. Like you put those things side by side, it's night and day. Just fast forward a couple of years, that's what you're going to get. You're going to have the same significance in terms of a leap from the 1S2 to the 1X2, aka the Anaconda. So if that doesn't put it into perspective for you, and then with regards to Sony's PS5, like I've said before, it's hard to compare because we're talking fictitiously. There's no, we don't know the specs of the Anaconda yet, but the PlayStation 5 is a lonely SKU. So they've got to price it at a nice level. And in order to do that, they probably had to make some sacrifices here and there when it comes to the specs. Whereas the Anaconda doesn't have to, they're not being chained down that way. You've got the 1S2, aka Lockhart, for your entry model, which is going to be a more than capable system, probably closer to the PS5 than you probably think. And if you want to go balls to the wall and game as close to a PC as you can possibly get with regards to consoles, then the Anaconda is going to be there unchained, and the power is going to be very, very up there. It's going to have a big price tag as well. But yeah, I don't know how else to put it into perspective, but it's going to be a monster. It's going to be a monster indeed.
Yeah, no, I believe so. I believe it's going to be. I think again, Microsoft really blew us out of the water with the X. I think they're going to further push us out to sea and sink us with what the Anaconda is going to be in regards to power. But I want to move on to the next topic. And you know what? No one's talking about this. So when I saw this, I enjoy keeping each and every show that I do, the live shows, very different. And on this is obviously the Xbox show. There was a story that actually came from Microsoft.com, and I didn't see anybody, especially in the big media, talk about this. It's almost a slap in the face, in my opinion. The Xbox Adaptive Controller just won the Top Design Prize Award at the D&AD Festival, and it proves one thing, Drew. Microsoft has once again put the player ahead of profits. Obviously, the Xbox Adaptive Controller has won, listen to this, one of the world's top design awards during an event in your neck of the woods in the UK. The device, which obviously makes it easier for people with limited mobility to play video games, was awarded this very prestigious Black Pencil Award, where it's being hailed as one of the top designs of gaming. And I think that that's a really big deal. And I don't understand. Look, I understand it's not the story that's going to stop the presses, but at the same time, I feel like these big media outlets kind of gave this device shade. Outside of talking about it once or twice, you don't hear about it. And when it's winning awards, worldwide awards, it almost seems, like I said earlier, a slap in the face. I think everyone should know about this simply because the product is amazing. What Microsoft did to design this original controller for people that, folks, listen, let me tell you something. Everyone in this chat right now takes gaming for granted. I am telling you, because I sometimes do. Whether it's financially, whether it's just not, you don't have the time because of family responsibilities, or of course, in the worst case scenario, you get injured where you lose a limb, in more specifically an arm or a hand, where you can no longer play games. And that would kill almost every one of us on this show, in the chat, and whoever will eventually listen. So again, I find it to be insulting that no one from big media grabbed this story and said, hey, we have to write about this. It's important that the world knows how incredible this adaptive controller is.
Well, Boom, if you don't mind me saying, there's a guy in the chat called Dennis Haas. Apologies if I butchered that, my dude.
No, that's the correct way to pronounce it. Yes.
He said if Sony developed it, it would win a Nobel Prize.
It's funny.
It is true,
first of all, I want to thank him for being here. And I actually worked with a Haas in NYPD. So I don't know if you're related or not, but I worked with her for many years. She's a wonderful person. I'm going to say this. I don't normally get myself involved with console war shenanigans, because it's two sides, and the other side, the toxic community that you want to punch in the face, will never admit that they're wrong. But I will say this: he's right. If this would have been a PlayStation design, you would have had every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there waving the blue emerald flag, talking about how they just changed the world. And the fact that it's not that the only people really talking about this are the Xbox fans, it's a shame. But I want to talk about what what Microsoft actually had to say about it, and their direct quote from the organizers that put this globally recognized craft and creative event together. It's known as the Black Pencil. It says it's an honor and a privilege to receive the D&AD Black Pencil Award. And this comes from Evelyn Thomas, who's the program manager at Xbox. It's a product that we designed with inclusivity at the heart, and was formed through collaborations with amazing partners and individuals. We continue to be moved by the recognition it has received, helping it to stand out as a true first of its kind in gaming and beyond. And listen, folks, if that doesn't give you goosebumps like it just did for me, again, you got to check your pulse, because that's a strong statement. And obviously, the adaptive controller was released September of last year, and it really does make a world of a difference for people who may need it. So I want to get your opinion on this, Drew. I mean, listen, I've said this. I'm personally amazed at the controller myself. I don't own one. I don't need one. And you know what? I hope I never really do. I like gaming with my hands, but the fact that it's available for people who do not have the same luxuries, it's an amazing product. I know that you have a lot to say on the subject, Drew, and I've done enough talking about it. What are your personal opinions on Microsoft winning this very extremely prestigious award?
It is it's truly remarkable. It really is. I'm really, honestly, genuinely, like, quite proud on a personal level of what they've done here. I'm very happy that they received this amazing award, and for me, I do believe Xbox truly deserves as much recognition as possible for making this reality for so many people that were, for lack of a better term, Boom, left behind.
Yes.
With no other, like, a lot of people were left with no other option but to watch Twitch and Mixer for their gaming fix. If it was something they were passionate about but lacked the means to do it, it's awful. But the fact that now that anyone of any shape, size, and disability can customize their experience and get involved in the industry that we love and talk about week in, week out, with no more limitation, Boom. It truly touches me. It really does. It gets to me. It touches me deep. I'm not see, like, it genuinely does. Like, I'm stuttering again now. It gets to me, man. It really does. I'm not just saying that to come across as some nice guy, like, oh, Welsh is such a lovely dude. No, I truly do mean it, honestly. Like, because as I've openly mentioned on this show before, as well as back on the Dragon X podcast, I remember talking about that. The odd video I've done about this in the past, I've talked about it. I've been very open. I've got no problem, being open. Like, but I've mentioned on this show before that, I had a sister with Down syndrome that couldn't walk or talk. She was severely disabled. She passed away before I was born. I also have a son that is 5 years old this year, who is on the autistic spectrum. He's very behind for his age in a lot of areas. He doesn't talk. His cognitive interaction, his skills in that department, he very much struggles with. He doesn't understand. He's just sort of learning to write certain letters. He's very behind. Now I've presented, it is a struggle for him, and I've now presented at least 2 personal examples from myself of people that could benefit from this device greatly. Obviously, my sister's not with us right now, but if she was still alive, she could get involved with a personal customized setup, having fun as we speak. In the next year or so, my son will be able to be getting involved once he understands things a little bit better. And if a regular controller is too confusing, then, as we've just stated, the adaptive controller is now an option for him. It's just truly amazing. And I do believe it is one of the more amazing things this generation, that I believe gets overlooked by a lot of people. There are hundreds of people across the world, like my sister and my son, that can actually now get into gaming properly and not just as a spectator. And that is thanks to Xbox. And if that doesn't deserve a clap, that doesn't deserve recognition, I don't know. And all jokes aside, but what that guy said is absolutely right. Because if you know for a fact that if Sony had released this product, it would have been in every article. There'd have been, they'd have had more than just like this pencil award. They'd have had a Nobel Prize. They'd have been given an Oscar. They'd have been given a Golden Globe. They'd have been given a platinum record. They'd have been given everything, even if it's not relevant. They'd be given everything. But Xbox does it. A handful of people have given it its praises, but it goes over people's heads. I don't think people realize just how life-changing this adaptive controller is for a lot of people. And I, for one, till the day I die, if it's ever brought up in conversation, I'll tip my hat to Xbox, because they were the first and only ones to do this, and they should be commended to ridiculous heights. Because it's not just my sister or my son, it's people all over the world. Like, I bet you out of the 100 or so people watching this, I bet at least one person here has a son or a daughter or a sister or a brother or mother or father or whatever that has a disability. And now, if it's an interest of theirs, they can actually start gaming, which they wouldn't have been able to before. I think it's fantastic. Truly a touching subject for me. Gets to me, and without lowering the tone too much, thanks for letting me be honest with everyone, but it is something I'm very passionate about. And I tell you what, in a year or so's time, if my son is showing interest in gaming, and like like I said, he can't grasp the normal controller, I don't care how much it costs, I'll be getting him a adaptive controller, and I can only thanks Phil and team in advance for making it possible.
That's a great point.
That's all I can really say, man. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it was, well, first of all, that's really awesome of you to share your, and be open with the chat, with the people that are going to listen about your personal life. That's always great. And the fact that this controller, as special it is, will be able to work with all of the Xbox devices moving forward is something else that's very important. Again, I cannot honestly, you've said it, I'll say, and I'll co-sign. I've never been more proud of being an Xbox person or a player than I am when I saw this controller come out, and the fact that it's winning awards is proving that this controller, for a gaming controller, just goes so beyond just playing a game, and it really opens the door for people, like you said, have been left behind. And I've never been more proud to be a fan of Microsoft. I think what they did here was amazing. But I want to move on to the next topic, if that's okay with you. Microsoft's ProjectX-Cloud will stream 3 generations of Xbox games. And as of today's show, Drew, xCloud can currently stream a mind-blowing 3,500 plus Xbox titles.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous, by the way. Now, according to techspot.com, which is where I pulled this article from, Microsoft has outlined some data on what its ProjectX-Cloud will be capable of, highlighting a massive streaming library spanning 3 generations of Xbox and a design that allows developers to deploy games to the service seamlessly. Microsoft obviously has struggled to compete with Sony in the realm of console exclusives. There's no denying that. But one of the best things about the Xbox One is, in fact, its backwards compatibility with past Xbox titles, an area where Sony has woefully dropped the ball. So both companies are doing great in one, failing at the other. I think they're both going to get on track. But according to Microsoft, backwards compatibility will continue to be a focal point in its cloud gaming service. ProjectX-Cloud, it will be, when it's ready for its debut, will of course have at least 3,500 games to stream on it, which is, like I said, I mean, it's Drew, for me personally, when you talk about the future, right? When you talk about technology, most people think ahead, right? You're like, okay, technology, we're going to be able to do this better because it's a newer version of this. But when you talk about ProjectX-Cloud, it seems very relevant that the past is just as important as its present and its future, and allowing titles from 3 generations of Xbox consoles to be played anywhere where xCloud is capable is really unbelievable to talk and say out loud. So here's my question to you, Drew. Obviously, this is very exciting news. Everyone that's on this panel may or may not use xCloud. For me personally, it's not something that I'm going to use daily, because I will rather sit in front of my TV and play with my controller, and that's the way I want to go. But if I'm going to be on a plane, if I'm going to be on a train where it's going to be a long ride, maybe you want to get that controller device hook up where you put your phone on, where you can continue your, whatever game you're playing, Halo Infinite, Gears 5, Rise 2, Sunset Overdrive 2, if it happens, whatever. But here's my question to you. Do you think that this is Microsoft's way of leading the pack into the next generation with the xCloud, confirmation that 3 generations of games will be following in line?
Well, I'll tell you this much. They've certainly not wavered on their promise of Windows Universal Platform, the backwards and forwards compatibility. I mean, they could have just said that and let it go, like get lost in time, but they have kept to their word. Like the fact that that whatever comes out in the next decade, from the One X to the Anaconda to the Xcloud, like that your games are going with you backwards and forwards, and the fact that they haven't forgotten about the OG era, the 360 era. I mean, that's a bit of a side note. I'm sidetracking, but I just got to say, Boom, that I think it is absolutely fantastic that they aren't just gun-ho blinkers on looking at what's ahead. They haven't forgotten what got them there. Like they
Right.
haven't,
That's a great point.
because bottom line, like you look at all these classic games, it might not be everyone's cup of tea going back to old games, but there's a lot of people who do want to. And for some people, like, as Mooch would say, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. And I mean, like, what better way to just to know? It's just to know. You might never ever go back to old games, but just to know you can. Like, it's just a phenomenal thing. And the fact that that's going to be venturing into the cloud, so on the move, wherever you are in the world, on a train, on a bus, over your nan's house, the fact you can pull out your phone and blah, 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 you got Halo on the go, like, oh man, incredible, absolutely incredible. Not to mention older games, like you could be on a bus or a train and you want to play Knights of the Old Republic or Black or Mercenaries, and you're like bloody getting up OG Xbox games on the fly. I think that's amazing. But in terms of this whole topic, Boom, I'm very excited to see this in action. I can't deny it. I'd like to see them show this at E3. I'd like to see something. I don't want to. I'm kind of in the camp with Salty on this one. I don't want them to spend too much time on it.
Yeah, 10 or 15 minutes I think would be fair, where you kind of explain it, and because you could really break it down in an Inside Xbox done correctly, not the way that they did it the last time.
Yeah, I think like you said, 10 minutes. That's a nice round number. No more than 10 minutes. And I only say that because it's definitely still in its infancy to an extent. Right. So you don't want to go overboard like they did like E3's previous back in the 360 when they had like a 40-minute bloody live session for Project Natal, aka Connect 1.0, and it turned out to be a flop. It's like, I'm not saying this will turn out to be a flop. I'm just saying, unless it's a sure thing, just keep it to a minimum. Like, you haven't got everything to show right here, right now. All you can do is like a tech demo, maybe just disclose a bit of information, keep it short, sweet, to the point, a nice 10-minute or less. That's what I'd like to see. But I would like to see it in action nonetheless. It's going to, but I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. It is going to wipe the floor with Google Stadia, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Someone in the chat actually asked if Google Stadia is going to be at E3. I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about that.
I was going to say, I honestly could not answer that, to be honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me if they had, if like they did show it, but I haven't heard anything personally. But no, I do think that Google Stadia is going to get the floor wiped with them when it comes to Xbox. Xbox has a solid foundation with the home Xbox Hub option that Google can't offer, as well as a whole host of services and established first-party titles, and many more to come as part of the package. Not to mention, Sony and Nintendo are years out from having anything like this of their own. So Xbox is literally in a league of their own with this. Xbox is leading the way of innovation and someone that enjoys seeing technology evolve. I am certainly excited to see where this goes. I just disclosed why this is the main reason I don't want them to show too much of it on the stage, if they show it at all. But, it is more than likely a few years off before we are seamlessly and flawlessly able to access Halo or any backwards compat title on our phones while on the train to work through the Xcloud, as well as the option to access your Xbox library and services like Xbox Game Pass, no matter where you are in the world. But the fact that this is 100% Boom coming to the Xbox ecosystem eventually is groundbreaking, and at least for myself, a very exciting thought. It's no wonder that Sony has of late, they've developed the better late than never, smelled the gravy attitude towards this, even coming out calling traditional consoles niche, when, as far as everyone has been concerned this generation, like literally, like all they've done is tout power and the box exclusives matter, all this shit. Is the narrative, regardless of what it's changed to, it's always been the console at the center, and now they're saying consoles are niche. So like I said, they've smelled the gravy. It's better late than never. Xbox has been ahead of the game, but you know, with them coupled with them saying consoles are niche, they've now decided to partner up with Microsoft to use the Azure servers.
Yeah.
Not only, I know it's amazing, not only to have a much needed upgrade to their network, so it's a lot more sturdy and can stand the test of time going into a new generation, but obviously they intend to start making preparations for a future where PlayStation games can be streamed on the go. But like I said, Xbox has been ahead of the game for years, despite the ridicule it received, and Sony are years out from having anything of this of their own. So I say one more time, Boom, not only is this exciting, not only do I expect to see big things from this, but Xbox is quite literally in its own lane here. And with regards to lanes, there's not a single platform, company, or anything that is close to where Xbox is right now. Like,
no, certainly not in regards to what their next gen cloud service is going to be. I think everyone is going to eventually be joining the fray when it comes to the Azure servers.
Dude,
there's no doubt about it,
mate. Absolutely, that is inevitable. Like I said, Sony, of a better late than never, smelled the gravy attitude. Like that means that's good for Sony fans. Eventually, they're going to be up there where but people must understand. This whole Windows Universal Platform, Play Anywhere, Xcloud, Azure servers, streaming, all these different things, Xbox Game Pass across PC and multiple devices. This is not new information, guys. Phil Spencer has been planting this tree since he got on that throne, since he was given the head of Xbox position. Ever since Don Matrick was booted and Phil was brought in, this is one of the first seeds he planted. And by next generation, it's going to be a fully grown oak tree. Like,
yeah.
That it can't be understated. So even though, like you just said, Boom, I completely agree, everyone's going to catch up eventually. But how many? You can't grow a tree overnight. You know, Sony's making, linking bridges, shaking hands, putting money down where it needs to be put down. Obviously, partnered up with the Azure servers. They're looking to go down this same road. Nintendo will do the same. We know Google's in the game. There's probably going to be others as well. But the point is, Xbox has been working on this for like a number of years, and they're still maybe a few years shy of completing it. And they're a fucking multi-billion-dollar software company. This is what they do. So how long do you think it's going to take for a company like Sony to catch up? It's going to be a while. So my point is, Xbox is in a complete and utter league of its own. Yes, everyone's going to be up there with them eventually, but when I say eventually, I mean eventually. So Xbox is, mate, honestly, it's phenomenal. They are leading the way of innovation. The way I see it, Boom, Xbox innovates and everyone else just imitates. It's just the way it is.
That's a great point. Real quick in the chat, Midway 7 Monster drops an outstanding $2 super chat. He says, "How'd you become a Vikings fan? Go Bears!"
Oh, how did I become a Vikings fan? Man, I've been following the Vikings since about. Well, I mean, like I got into watching the Vikings back in like 2013, 14. There was we never used to be able to get NFL over here. It was like practically impossible. I always loved playing the Madden game, and same with NBA. I love my basketball as well. I was always a Chicago Bulls fan. I haven't followed them for a while, but no, yeah. Basically, my local network on our TV guide over here, Channel 4. It's a UK channel, but once a week they'd show 2 games when the season was on, when the regular season was and I just loved watching the Vikings. I loved everything about them, but that kind of died a death. And then a couple of years ago, I figured out you could actually watch NFL over here by downloading and buying the Xbox, the NFL Game Pass app on the Xbox. So I was just like, man. And with regards to Vikings, they're Norse, they're medieval, they're old school, and I'm Welsh. And part of our heritage is the Celts. And Celts are like Vikings. They're very similar in their fighting style, the way that they're using axes and shit. So I just thought it's the closest thing I have to a Welsh team over in America. So I just thought, do you know what? I'm going all in, and I've been a Vikings fan. Well, this will be my third or fourth season now. Score! Bring it on, bitches. Man, it's going to be an epic season. Garrett Bradbury, baby, centre boy. He's going to be stopping those big daddies. They're getting at Cousins. Cousins going to be slipping seeds left and right. Super Bowl, baby.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, that was a pretty interesting breakdown of what led you to like the Vikings. That's pretty interesting, dude. I got to say, very funny also.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like, if you're from America, it's quite easy, isn't it? Because if you're born in Arizona or born in Pittsburgh, or you just follow the team that you like. You know. But being in the UK, I had to give it some real thought. But it was quite an easy decision. I love the Vikings. They're banging.
Nice. Well, anyway, that was actually a funny topic that completely out of left field. Thanks for the question, dude. Thank you for the super chat. That was very kind of you. Let's move on to another topic. It's an original one that I wrote. Not a lot of people are talking about this. And obviously, because E3 2019 is right around the corner, speculation is extremely high on just who Microsoft will be adding to their first-party lineup in a few weeks. And we all have some ideas. Now, Drew, we've heard Asobo Studio, who just made A Plague's Tale, which is supposed to be unbelievable. It's getting very high praise. IO Interactive has been on the list, with the makers of Kane and Lynch and the Hitman series. Crytek, which has been debunked, but I still think Phil Spencer is going to say Crytek when he walks up on that stage, who are the makers of Rise, Son of Rome. And, of course, we heard Relic Studio or Relic Entertainment, makers of the best RTS titles in the business. But, of course, there's one small company that no one has mentioned, that no one is talking about. And thanks to the keen eyes of Twitter community member known as Logan Meyer, he spotted something very interesting on Twitter. Someone wrote to the makers of Super Lucky's Tale on Twitter, and they had this to say: I think they need to team up to make platformers. So at Playful Lucky seems like a good start. I, for one, enjoyed Super Lucky's Tale and lots of potential for growth in there with the IP. But here's my question. Okay. Now, the company that makes Super Lucky's Tale is known as the Playful Corp. And I've been checking out their Twitter feed to see what's been going on. And as I was very surprised by this point out by Logan Meyer, they apparently are going on a hiring spree at the company right now, pre-E3 2019. So, Drew, one of the genres that is missing from the Xbox is a strong platformer. And as you know, I really enjoyed Super Lucky's Tale. I played the heck out of it. But Microsoft really has not shown any love to the platformer in a very, very long time. The last time that we saw anything significant was Conker's Bad Fur Day, which was released in March 5th of 2001. And of course, after that, the only one that comes to mind is, of course, Banjo and Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which released in November of 2008. So now we're in 2019, 11 years removed since we had a quality, high-profile platformer. I personally think that if the Playful Corp is purchased, they are a fantastic platform developer. And I think that if you gave them the assets to Conker's Conker the character, or of course Banjo and Kazooie, they could easily crank out a quality reboot that they wouldn't have to pull a big AAA developer off to do, like Rare, for instance. Now, as much as I want to believe in my heart of hearts that Rare is hard at work at a Banjo-Kazooie, I don't think that's going to happen. So the Playful Corp would be a great opportunity for Microsoft to pick up one of those smaller developers that they're looking for, but at the same time, get a developer who knows how to make a quality platformer. Drew, what are your opinions on the Playful Corp company? And more specifically, do you think they'd be a good fit for the Xbox first party, mantra?
Right. I'm just going to start by saying this. Like, I absolutely love Super Lucky's Tale. I really do. I think it's a phenomenal game. The colors are so vibrant and eye-catching. My son absolutely loves watching me play that game. Like, and I love playing it. Like, just to look at it, it's such a colorful game. So beautiful. Like, in 4K, it's a stunning game. And to play, it's genuinely quite challenging at times as well. I mean, like, I'm not saying it's like the hardest game I've ever had to play, but there's moments where,
that game is challenging, dude.
Oh man, like especially like, if you're running out of lives and you haven't found all the bloody letters and you haven't found the bloody clove.
Shamrocks.
I tell you what, it can be a right bastard. But no, what a game! I do thoroughly enjoy it. I would love a sequel. I'll throw that up there as well. But if you're proposing to me that Xbox might or could be acquiring Playful Corp, that'd be outstanding in my opinion. I've got nothing against that whatsoever. Like, Xbox will, with this acquisition, if they were to acquire this developer, Xbox will in fact have ticked every box, Boom. Thanks to the Sony fanboys and the biased media and the relentless hate Xbox has received since 2013, Xbox will now have gone from the platform with no games to the platform with at least one of every single type of game.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Honestly, man, it's just ticking another box. So, yeah, I say, why the hell not? I do agree, though, Boom, that with these guys, these guys would be a great fit all around. Not just for a sequel to a game I like, Super Lucky's Tale, but they would be a good fit. I'll jump on the wagon with you. They'd be a great fit for reviving older classics with their amazing art style and platform development ability.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think Conquer deserves a reboot of sorts. I think it was edgy. I think he was, the writing was, what you would expect in a typical rare, fantastic game. And Banjo-Kazooie is, those are two characters, they're beloved characters. They started their life on, of course, the Nintendo system. Eventually, when Rare was purchased, they came over here. They only had one shot at a game, and it sold, I guess, relatively well, because it eventually made the Platinums line. And according to the Wikipedia on Banjo-Kazooie Nut and Bolts, in order to get that to be considered a platinum title, you have to sell minimum 400,000 copies. So, obviously, I don't think it ever broke 1 million, and that's a shame, because obviously, Banjo-Kazooie they're classic characters. I just think that, the Playful Corp, as they're known, is a small enough developer with enough talent to put out a quality reboot of either of these characters. If you do one now, a couple of years later, you do another. I think this is exactly the kind of companies Microsoft is looking. Again, this is a lot of speculation here. Big shout out to, of course, Logan Meyer for sending me the information through DM. And of course, I then did some more digging, if you will, and I noticed that the Playful Corp is going on a hiring spree. So you put one and one together. For me, it makes 2. For someone else, it may make 6. I don't know, but I'm gonna say that where there's usually smoke, there's possibly fire. So that's why I thought this would be a great topic. But we are closing in on 2 hours, and I think this has been another fantastic, from start to finish, Xbox Factor podcast. Drew, you got a lot of stuff going on. You obviously are going to be tuning into E3. You're going to be doing tons of videos, lots of impression videos that are going to be popping up on your channel. And of course, you've been very active on Twitter, talking with the community, both on Twitter itself and through DM. Please tell everyone where they can follow you, but more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding YouTube channel.
Right, I got a few things to say. One, in terms of this topic, just to close, with regards to the graphics engine and their design for Super Lucky's Tale, they could quite easily pump out a Banjo and a Conker with those designs.
Yes,
that art style. So I think it'd make life easy for them. So just throwing that out there as well. But in terms of me and my outro, the Welsh Gamer 93 at the Welsh Gamer 93 for Twitter. Please follow me. message me, whatever you want. I'm very active on Twitter. The Welsh Gamer, 3 words, is my YouTube channel. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Oh yeah, E3 is coming in close, man. Boom, it's rolling in quick as hell. And I tell you what, there is going to be so much stuff to talk about. So definitely tune into the channel. I'm going to be doing some Welsh Gamer shows. Hopefully get a guest on. Maybe Boom will jump on. I got
Yes,
Salty said he'll jump on. We can dissect some of the things post E3. So definitely check that out. And another thing before I go over to the Saltiest Gaming. Oh, it's actually just Saltiest Gaming, his channel, and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, because we are going to be doing a live reaction of E3.
Nice.
Obviously, Boom, my boy, you will be there. Your ass will be keeping a seat warm, and you'll be honestly, a stone throw from Phil Spencer's jeans. But us mere mortals can't go. So we're gonna be doing a live show for you guys over on the Saltiest Gaming podcast. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. But yeah, man, what a show, Boom. Excellent topics, phenomenal chat as always. Love you all, and see you next week.
Yep. Well, thanks again. Listen, I want to thank the chat for always being awesome. We had over almost 130 people watching live, which is awesome. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their day to spend 2 hours with me and the Welsh Gamer talking about the best box, meaning, of course, is the Xbox. And, of course, I will be doing lots of live daily coverage from the show floor of E3. I've gotten invited to several of their shows, but I'm going to Bethesda, I'm going to the AMD, I'm going to the PC show, I'm going to EA Play, where I'm going to get a chance to not only play the new Star Wars game, and be able to, I think I'm going to be able to talk to one of the developers about it. I have I have a Saturday appointment with them, so I'm very interested to do that because that's a first for the channel. I want to thank everybody who donated into the super chat. Your kindness is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. And of course, we will see you next Thursday, where we're going to be doing our big E3 2019 prediction show. Of course, JD Gamer in the chat, who not only donated into the super chat, but gave us a topic for next week where we're going to actually cut it in half. What 5 games or situations do we need to see up on the Microsoft stage? So please tune in for that. And of course, we will see you next week at the same time. Please, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend and tune in tomorrow morning to Breakfast with Boom. My panel is lit. The chat's going to be lit, and the topics are out of this world. We'll see everyone tomorrow morning. Take care. Have a great day, everyone.